Atalanta was the daughter of the king of Arcadia. He had wanted a boy, and he had prayed fervently for one. When his wife gave birth to a daughter, he was furious. He had the baby abandoned in the wilderness. The cries of the infant attracted a nearby brown bear. When the bear saw the little baby, instead of attacking, she took it as her own, and she raised the human child. As Atalanta grew into a woman, she proved to be a very skillful hunter and the fastest runner in all of Greece. Her fame spread far and wide, and one day she was approached by the hero Meleager. "Will you join my band of hunters and help us to kill the Caledonian boar?" he asked. She readily agreed. Now, naturally, this boar was larger and more fearsome than any other, and its tusks were longer than those of an elephant. This boar had been sent by none other than the goddess Artemis as a punishment for Meleager's father, the king of Caledon. He had angered her. It was Meleager's duty as a prince to catch this beast to protect his people. The rest of the men laughed at the prince for asking a woman to help them in their hunt. What help could a woman be? However, Atalanta did not let their words disturb her. She went with them, and she went through the forest that she had been raised in, following the trail of broken trees pushed aside by the gigantic boar. The men ignored her as they trekked through the forest, but Atalanta didn't care. When they caught up with this creature, the men grabbed their weapons, raised them over their heads, and charged towards the boar. One, a young man named Telamon, tripped on a tree root and fell thud right in front of the boar. The boar quickly turned his attention to the man and began to charge. Quick-thinking Atalanta drew an arrow and fired at the beast, and it hit him squarely in the chest. It staggered to a halt. Telamon was able to climb to his feet, and all the hunters sprang into action. Together they were able to defeat the boar. The people of Caledon were safe once again, and Atalanta was celebrated as a heroic huntress. Soon her name was known all over Greece. When her father discovered that it was his daughter, he was filled with guilt. He looked for her so he could apologize. He was sorry he rejected her as a baby. "Dearest daughter, can you ever forgive me? Please, please, return to Arcadia with me as my princess." Never having a family before, Atalanta agreed happily. When they arrived home, she discovered that as a princess, she was expected to marry a prince and form an alliance to help her father's kingdom. Atalanta had traveled the world and achieved so much. She would only marry someone who was worthy of her, she said. "I won't let you marry me off for wealth or power," she said. Atalanta declared that anyone who wanted to marry her had to challenge her in a race, and they had to be as fast as, if not faster, than she was, and if any were arrogant enough to go up against her, and they lost, they would give up their lives. Once again, the men of Greece laughed at her for thinking a woman could outrun a man, but one by one her potential suitors lost their races and their lives. That is, until one hero showed up. Hippomenes came to take on the challenge. Hippomenes was favored by the goddess Aphrodite. She gave him 3 golden apples. He hid them in his clothes, and then he went and he asked to raise Atalanta. She agreed. They lined up at the start, and they were off. Atalanta was like the wind and quickly took the lead, but Hippomenes took the first apple and threw it so that it rolled in front of her. Entranced by the sight of the golden apple, she paused to pick it up. Then she continued to run, and he threw the second golden apple. Once again, she stopped to pick it up. Hippomenes by then had pulled up level with her. Then came the final apple. He dropped it right in front of Atalanta's feet, and when she paused to pick up the apple, he passed the finish line. She was furious, but he had won the race and her hand in marriage.